Good afternoon. Today, I would like to present the war speech in the digital age, presidential rhetoric and identity construction in the Ukraine conflict. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Thank you. The keywords are war speeches, identity, digital media, and presidential rhetoric. The working hypotheses are presidential war rhetoric in the digital age, shapes identity construction and public narratives, evidence, speeches by Volodymyr Zelensky, Vladimir Putin, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump in digital environments. The fields of research are discourse studies, critical discourse studies, rhetoric, and political linguistics. Setting the scene, critical discourse analysis, political discourse linguistics, political discourse analysis, analysis of political discourse. The Ukraine conflict has become a defining geopolitical crisis of the 21st century, not only because of the military stakes, but also due to the unprecedented role of digital media in shaping public perception and discourse. Political leaders leverage speeches, videos, and social media posts to construct narratives that define collective identities, mobilize support, and legitimize actions. In the current digital era, presidential rhetoric is no longer confined to traditional broadcast channels. It circulates instantly, reaching global audiences and bypassing traditional gatekeepers. This study investigates how presidential war rhetoric in digital environments contributes to identity construction and public persuasion. Specifically, it examines four key figures' speeches: Volodymyr Zelensky, Vladimir Putin, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump. The study addresses the following research questions: how do presidential speeches construct collective and national identities in digitally mediated contexts? How does social media transformation alter traditional war rhetoric and its influence on global audiences? By analyzing these questions, the study intersects political linguistics, critical discourse analysis, and media studies, providing insight into contemporary propaganda mechanisms and the interplay between digital technology and political discourse. A theoretical framework. This research draws on multiple theoretical approaches to contextualize digital presidential rhetoric. Critical discourse analysis provides a lens for analyzing the ideological and power-laden aspects of discourse. CDA allows for the examination of how leaders frame conflicts, construct in-group and out-group identities, and manipulate narratives for political ends. Digital rhetoric and media studies emphasize the role of social media and online platforms in shaping the reception and dissemination of political messages. Platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram not only facilitate direct communication but also amplify messages algorithmically. Political sciences, digital media diplomacy situates presidential communication within the broader sphere of international relations, illustrating how digital media allows states and leaders to engage audiences transnationally, bypassing traditional diplomatic channels. Cognitive semantics, frames of war, explore how vulnerability, life, and moral responsibility are represented in public discourse, offering a conceptual tool to interpret how leaders evoke empathy, fear, or pride. Methodological toolkit. The study employs a corpus-based qualitative approach. The corpus comprises speeches, press statements, and social media posts from Presidents Volodymyr Zelensky, Vladimir Putin, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump between 2022 and 2024. The analysis focuses on linguistic and pragmatic strategies, metaphorical frameworks, emotional appeals, and multimodal storytelling. Data sources include Volodymyr Zelensky official presidential websites and United 24 Media, Vladimir Putin official Kremlin statements and Reuters reports, Joe Biden White House archives, Donald Trump archived tweets and public statements. The analysis identifies recurring rhetorical patterns and examines how digital media facilitates the viral spread of presidential messages, linking official communication to grassroots mobilization. Deriving insights, corpus-driven analysis. Volodymyr Zelensky, digital leadership and heroic framing. Zelensky's rhetoric exemplifies the fusion of authentic vulnerability and heroic national narratives. In one notable speech, he suggestively states, "The future of the world is being decided right now on the battlefield in Ukraine." This framing positions Ukraine not only as defending its own sovereignty, but also as a symbol of global democratic resilience. Metaphors such as David versus Goliath reinforce a narrative of moral righteousness against a formidable adversary. Multimodal storytelling, including social media videos showing personal sacrifice, battlefield footage, and public addresses, creates a compelling, emotionally resonant narrative. Vladimir Putin, disinformation and cultural mythology. Putin employs historical revisionism and cultural mythology to justify military action. He asserts, from that moment, as we have repeatedly underscored, a regional conflict in Ukraine previously provoked by the West has acquired elements of a global character. Through such statements, he frames Russia as a protector of historical and cultural heritage while portraying the West as aggressors. His rhetoric strengthens national cohesion and legitimizes strategic objectives, reflecting sophisticated manipulations of historical narrative and patriotic sentiment. Joe Biden, alliance building and moral authority. Biden's rhetoric emphasizes democratic solidarity and international cooperation. At a speech marking the anniversary of the invasion, he urges Kyiv stands strong and, most important, it stands free. Biden frames Ukraine's resistance as emblematic of democratic values, aligning US and NATO identity with Ukraine's struggle. His language underscores moral responsibility and alliance cohesion, conveying a sense of global duty. Donald Trump oppositional war discourse. Trump's digital rhetoric, primarily through Twitter and public statements, emphasizes polarization and criticism of institutions. His communication illustrates oppositional framing, leveraging digital echo chambers to consolidate a loyal audience. Emotional appeals, particularly anger and defiance, are central to his strategy. In September 2024, Trump publicly called Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky a dictator without elections and accused him of dragging the US into an endless war for the gravy train. Here, the internal enemy framing and adversarial construction are directed at the Ukrainian leader side rather than just the Russian foe. In December 2024, as president-elect, he tweeted that there should be an immediate ceasefire and negotiations should begin, while also intimating that Europe and China had roles. This frames Ukraine's war as a problem to be solved, a madness to stop. The opponents are less explicit. comparative rhetorical strategies. Zelensky, we have metaphors such as David versus Goliath, emotional appeals, hope and resilience, multimodal use, videos, social media. Key function mobilizes national and international support. Putin, defender of civilization, pride and loyalty. Media statements, he justifies aggression, reinforces nationalism. Biden, we have metaphors such as democracy versus authoritarianism, trust, moral duties, speeches and videos. And as key functions, we have strengthens alliances, moral authority. Trump, as metaphors, we have oppositional framing, anger and defiance. Multimodal use, tweets and videos. Key function polarizes audience, challenges mainstream narratives. Discussion. Digital platforms fundamentally reshape presidential rhetoric. Leaders bypass traditional gatekeepers, reaching global audience directly. Algorithmic amplification ensures that emotionally resonant messages through metaphors, images, and videos achieve virality, linking official discourse with grassroots engagement. Zelensky demonstrates how vulnerability can be leveraged strategically to generate empathy and transnational support. Putin's rhetoric shows the persistence of historical and cultural framing to legitimize political objectives. Biden reinforces alliance building and moral authority in a digital context. Trump exemplifies the dynamics of oppositional discourse in echo chambers. The study reveals that digital mediation transforms not only the form but also the function of war rhetoric, creating new dynamics between leaders, audiences, and global public opinion. Conclusions and ways ahead. Presidential war rhetoric in the digital age merges linguistic, visual, and emotional strategies to construct identity and influence perception. Algorithmic amplification and social media dissemination expand the reach and impact of these messages. Key findings, metaphors and emotional appeals are central to identity construction. Multimodal digital content amplifies rhetorical impact. Digital platforms link official discourse with grassroots mobilization. Each leader platforms distinct strategies reflecting national, moral, and political objectives. This research contributes to understanding contemporary propaganda mechanisms, identity construction, and the role of digital media in shaping global and public opinion. Future research could explore cross-platform comparisons, audience reception, and other conflict contexts. Thank you very much.